Don't we have a job to do?
How does that even mean? I mean, if you can already put up walls, I have no doubt that they're going to put in sidewalks and pavement at some point. Again. Amen. We need to add a targeting system in there. At least aim at it. Indeed.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's picking up. We're gonna have to repeat what we were saying, because for some reason my microphone wasn't picking up sound. It wasn't set to the correct microphone.
Let's go.
Rather, on Streamlabs. So I know that they could hear you though. So just to recap, Tectone talked about L targeting, mentioned Venti directly, auto targeting rather, and in my humblest opinions, adding an L targeting like in a Zelda game would be the biggest would be one of the biggest quality of life improvements to combat they could possibly make.
Would definitely be up there.
At the very least, I think it's in the top 3 quality of life. improvements. What other improvements do you think they could make?
Combat?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose if I had to pick anything off the top of my head, it would probably actually be make the hitboxes on some enemies a little less precise. Or something, because the amount
you
of
mean,
times I think I'm aiming
mean-
at an enemy's head and just apparently a pixel off and it just flies right by them.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I do think that they are a little too strict with hitboxes sometimes. Because I'll be hunting shit in the wild, and I'll aim my Diona charge shot, and I'll think that it's there, and it is just a smidgen off and it misses, and the thing gets spooked and flies off. And you're just like, well, shit. I definitely agree with that. I do think that increasing the hitboxes in general would be...
Increase the attack hitboxes, not necessarily reduce the enemies.
There's a couple of ways they could fix this. They could either increase the hurt boxes that enemies have, or they could increase the hitboxes of your attacks.
Indeed. Either or. But it is kind of annoying.
So let's switch to the new Spiral Abyss. Because personally, I love the new Spiral Abyss. I know that it's like stupidly difficult. I only barely passed all 3 floors with 2 stars on the very first one, and then 1 star on the second one, and no stars on the third. It is incredibly hard. And I think that's actually fine. I do think that it is that the difficulty itself is right where it should be. Because the way I see Spiral Abyss... Also, I wanted to join your house, but you're offline.
Indeed, I'm crafting your food.
Oh, thank you. Shit. I'll try to get you the ingredients, or I'll try to get you more mats for that later. Just been busy this week with school.
School and killing Steven.
Obviously. But anyway, the difficulty itself is fine. The problem comes... It's more or less just exacerbated a problem that has been here from the start. And that is the gap between free-to-play players, light spenders, and whales. Because full-on whales, people that are able to just drop, like, obscene amounts of money every day into this game to get every single recharge, they're obviously going to be ahead of free-to-play players and even light spenders like you and I.
Indeed. I was barely able to get all of the stars on floor 12.
Indeed. Indeed. And you actually spend more money than I do on this game.
Indeed. But it's not whale. I haven't even spent $1,000 on it.
No.
You're close to a whale.
I
I think the term is dolphin, but I do not remember.
I think it is. I'll just refer to us as light spenders, though. But in any case, even though we've spent a little bit of money comparatively on this game, there is a huge disparity between us and full-on whales. Because even though we've spent a little bit of money to get characters built up, to get constellations, whales are just at a level all their own. Because they're able to get the daily max refreshes that they can do. And the reason there's such a disparity is the recharge rate of resin. And Tectone actually made a couple of points. One was something that we talked about in our very first live stream. Increase the recharge rate. He mentioned 1 per 5 minutes. I think that's what you also said.
I said 1 per 6.
1 per 6.
It's a little bit more generous, but it's better than my not as generous as the 1.1 per 4, which is like if they're going to do 1 per 4, you need to increase the cap.
Yeah, that's true. They increased the cap, but they didn't change the. They didn't increase the recharge rate. So now so there's not any real difference. I'll wake up. I'll do my daily commissions, and then I only have 120 resin. And Tectone said it himself. He put it this way: what's the point of a cap if I can never reach it?
Yeah, I reach it occasionally, but that's only because sometimes I'm not at my computer all the time.
Yeah, you only reach it on days where you actually cannot play, and you have to skip a day, or play on mobile, or do your daily commissions on mobile. But the vast majority of the time, you're not getting to that cap. And that is an entire... let's see, the recharge rate gets you 120 per day. For like 22 hours, something along those lines.
Recharge cap?
Yeah.
Getting to 160?
Just 120. Just getting to 120.
Yeah, that's 12? No, 14 hours, I think. I would have to do the math.
It's a little frustrating, and he did say that the temporary resin they added was a step in the right direction.
Very tiny step in the right direction. It is locked behind months of work and also more time gain because we're limited by the amount of realm currency we're able to get.
And I think if I remember correctly, you have to choose between that and getting the artifact leveling shit.
If that's true, it's just going to be the resin. There's no point to even put in the artifact stuff.
Yeah. I'll have to go back into it and look at the prices again.
It's 12,000 for the resin, and it's 360 for 10,000 artifact experience, and then one third of the cost, I think. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Because you can only buy 1 of the resin per day. You can get 1 of the 10,000 and 5 of the smaller one. I'm checking the prices right now. Give me a second. Transient resin. It doesn't even say. I can't even see it.
Weird.
And you can't even get these things until you get to Trust Rank 8.
Indeed.
That is severely time-gated.
I mean, I don't mind putting in a little bit of work to get that stuff, the good stuff, as it were, but having to wait, I'd be surprised if anyone at the moment has more than Elegant at the moment, so 20 realm currency per hour. It's a very long time to wait.
I forget.
5, most likely.
I am at Elegant.
Okay, so you're at the same place I am.
I'm almost Trust Rank 5, though. I can almost. I'm so close. If you can at least log on so that I can join your teapot so that I can visit your merchant. 'Cause that's all I want to do is go to your merchant for the Battle Pass weekly.
I will be on the bit. 32 minutes specifically.
Okay.
Before
one
then,
before you
I
is-
don't know how long it's going to take me to craft all the food.
I see. Are you crafting for anyone else too?
Myself, yes, because we eat the same food.
You and I eat the same food?
Yes.
Huh, really? I guess that food makes sense for a black mage. But in any case, the housing feature, it's definitely I love this feature. I think it's one of the best features that MiHoYo could have added, and it was only a matter of time. And I know for a fact that this isn't even like the full experience for it that they have planned. Because eventually you'll be able to put your characters that you've collected over your time playing in here. Because they said as much in the live letter.
Is that so?
They said that it's not a feature right now, but it's a feature that they're working on implementing. So you'll be able to give Mona her own home. You'll be able to give Xinyan a place where she can hang out with you.
Personally, I would kind of prefer they actually put them in the real world first. Or the actual game world.
I feel like it might be easier for them to program this than the other world.
How would it...
Because
make them an
it's
NPC.
smaller here. It's smaller here.
You just make them an NPC in the game world. Nick, this craft is not going to go well.
Rip. Let me see if I have any. Indoor furnishings that I can use. I do not. I do have this though. Well-equipped study. Oh, that's a Mondstadt thing.
I suppose if anything would make programming yet the characters as NPCs hard is just making us let they disappear when you have them in your actual party, because otherwise it's going to get weird.
Perhaps. Let's see. I think the housing system is great. I am really enjoying the new event they made as well for this, and I do think the rewards are actually well worth it. Because at first I thought that the primos you could buy were a little lacking, and I still think that they give you a little too few in the shop. But I also forgot that when you clear the domains, that also gives you primos.
Indeed.
So that's 240 primos for each of the domains, which we have another one.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, coming out. That'll be the last bit of primos that I can buy. The only problem that I have with it, I can... there is nothing else in the shop that I can buy. I have bought... Well, no, I take that back. There's still some more that I can buy, but we'll be able to reach that cap for that tomorrow when we do the event. But sort of my problem is that that's the only thing left. I have bought literally everything else. Also, I think the traveling merchants that sell furniture, I think the prices are a little absurd.
I think what's absurd is that if one person buys it, no one else can buy the thing if they were to visit, not even you.
Wait, you mean the traveling merchant?
Yes, if you were to go to my world and buy my doggos and wild boar, apparently, from my traveling merchant in the thing, I would no longer be able to buy those.
Wait. But in that case, you could just go to mine, because mine are the exact same. I thought it was randomized. They've probably got it on a rotating thing to buy.
It might be randomized, it might be randomized, who knows. We could just have the same thing. We'd have to confirm this for multiple weeks before we can confirm it or not.
Alright. Well, we'll know in a couple of weeks whether it is randomized or not. But in any case, overall, I think this is probably the best patch since launch. I agree with Tectone on that.
Agreed.
Now, going back to the Spiral Abyss, while I do think that the difficulty is fine, I will admit I cannot get all 9 stars for floor 12. I did it for floor 11, but it took me... what I had to do was I had to put Chong Yun in my catching team. And then once they got the shields, I would put down Chong Yun's elemental skill and then switch back to catching.
See, what I like about hard content like that is it does force you to experiment with compositions if you are actually determined to get it. Because my second team was actually official Jean... No, Sucre... No. It was Fischl, Venti, Beidou, and Jean. Like, pretty unexpected team comp, I would say, but it did get the job done.
And I've been trying to do the same thing for floor 12, but the problem is that I think my damage is just a little bit too low. Overall, I think that if I got more crit damage at the cost of some of Klee's crit rate, I think that would help.
It's most certainly help. Just when crit rate gives you consistency, crit damage obviously gives you
burst
more.
But
crit damage is probably something I would only use on cryo characters because the cryo resonance is crit and the cryo set is crit rate.
That's true.
For the characters, you're kind of relying on a string of RNG and crits to be like, hey, look at that. Big boy numbers.
True. I do think that the difficulty itself is perfectly fine. Because the way I would describe Spiral Abyss is the savage content of Genshin Impact. You know, it's not supposed to be something that just everyone, that casual players are going to be able to clear. It's something that you want to do if you want to be good at this game.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near.
I'm going to say the requirements for actually getting it done, though, are kind of crazy.
Indeed. And the reason...
Can't imagine getting anything close to 3 star or all the stars on floor 12 if you don't have a character that's equivalent to my Ganyu.
Yeah,
one.
I don't think I have any characters that are equivalent to your Ganyu at the moment. Because you have how many constellations for Ganyu? 4?
4.
That's right. You see, my best character is Klee. I don't have a single constellation for her, and I am waiting for her rerun to get those constellations. And I'm gonna get as many constellations as possible.
Even if it costs your house, and your car, and your contract to kill Steven, well, that one's less forgivable.
Obviously. If I can at least get the first 2.
First 2 would be the biggest damages. Although 3 and 5 would not be something to just shrug off either.
Obviously.
The last one you can actually kind of not care about. It's just a support thing more than anything else. And the 4th one only matters if you intend to switch off of Klee.
I personally, I have found especially in Spiral Abyss right now, I'll do my setup, and then I'll start doing I'll start using my Klee ult, and then Klee gets virtually one-shot, and I'll have to switch to Chi-Chi to heal her.
See, the problem. I keep saying that Spiral Abyss is not even the start. It's just what they put in Spiral Abyss this time that makes it obscenely difficult. And it's just the water enemies.
Agreed. The water enemies are unfair. In order to clear it with just 1 star, like I did, what I had to do was constantly have them frozen with Rosaria and Chi-Chi. And I almost never used Klee, because it was actually detrimental. She'd just get burst down so fast I couldn't do anything. But not using her made it take way too long to kill them.
Indeed.
And I don't have anyone like Mona that could just that have a taunt that could attract the enemies away from me.
Technically, you do have character with taunt. Name is Uber.
I know, but Baron Bunny is a bit inconsistent, I find. But indeed, I do have her, and I might level her up just so that I can try that out. I may not necessarily build her perfectly, but I might see if using Baron Bunny helps. Because, you know, I didn't even build Chongyun. In fact, if I tried to use his charge attack against the...
Yeah, he would shadow them, or kind of defeat the purpose of freezing them.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but it takes him too long to get that charge attack going. He just got burst down every time I tried, so I just swapped back to catching.
See, the annoying thing about those is because they're the water animals that can't actually be CC'd at all beyond frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're sitting there, but they're all crowded around me, and they're actually so tightly knit together around me, I can't actually escape.
Indeed, indeed. In a way, they're worse than the Geovicious.
Indeed, because in the instant they all unfreeze, they're in the middle of an attack animation. They're all of the attacks going to suddenly hit you in the face all at once, and then that's how characters like instantly die.
Indeed.
And that's why I had Beidou, purely for her. I have built her as a tank.
The problem, though, and I'm probably gonna get flack for saying this, I still don't think the difficulty itself is the problem. It's what you have to do in order to be able to get to being able to do that difficulty.
Gee, again, like, if I didn't have my Ganyu, there's no way I would have gotten all the stars on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even remotely close, because Ganyu has, well, you know, full constellation, and of course, a 5-star bow. Not only that, but I would consider the Skyward Harp to be the DPS bow.
Agreed. I personally think that it's a little insane to get that. Because catching would not be doing as much damage if she didn't have the Aquila Favonia. If I didn't luck out that one time on the standard banner and get that 5-star unit.
That's how I got my Skyward Harp. I should have got time to do standard summon. Whoa, look at that, it's a bow.
Indeed.
Time I didn't even have Ganyu, so I was like, this is kind of not useful to me. And then Ganyu was announced, I was like, never mind.
I actually kind of wish I had that so that I could put it on my child.
Indeed.
Let's go.
But it is a little ridiculous, because even with the weapon banner right now, neither of the weapons are weapons that I could really use. I mean, maybe the Memory of Dust for Ningguang.
It's kind of it, and it's kind of bad.
But indeed, it doesn't. It feels like neither of these characters or
None of the
weapons.
weapons on the weapon banner at the moment are good. And
I think
there's literally
the
one
sword would probably be good for Albedo.
would be okay for Albedo. It wouldn't be good, however,
Indeed.
because it kind of none of those are like passive things. They kind of require you to be out unless you have the spear, which is meant for Zhongli, and the spear increases shield strength.
Yeah, the Vortex Vanquisher, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that they didn't give us that.
Same.
Like, nothing about that makes sense, but
What
that's
was
just
weird.
the thing.
If you
Your favorite character might not be able to use one of the weapons that they want. I want a 5-star weapon for my Klee. Because even though Solar Pearl is really good, I'll be honest, there are frankly better options for Klee. Namely, the Skyward Spine. That's not what I meant to do. I think it's the Skyward Spine.
no.
Skyward Atlas, sorry. I think that is widely considered to be her best in slot. Currently, there is no other way for me to get that except for the standard banner. Which
They
with
might put it
that,
on a banner someday in the future. They might even put it parallel to Klee's, but money is not unlimited. I don't care if you wail for Klee, but I do care if you wail for more than just Klee.
mm-hmm. Indeed.
I will support anyone who wants.
I will wail completely for Klee, because she's my favorite character, both design-wise and gameplay-wise. She's just the perfect character for me. She's an adorable little cinnamon bun. But if I wanted to get the Skyward Atlas for her, I would have to reach pity on the standard banner, and even then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 15 others. I have a 1 in 15 chance of getting that when I do finally hit the 5-star pity on the standard banner.
Like just comparing the other weapons that are there, or every
No,
5-star
that's
unit?
every 5-star unit.
Good.
And even if it's a weapon, that's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 10 weapons that I have to try to get to. Wait a second. Oh, no, that's not it. Never mind. That is an insane number of...
Didn't keep you waiting, did I?
That is frankly too many ways, too many things to try to get a weapon for Klee. If they had a standard weapon banner, just a banner that would have all of the non-featured weapons on it.
Maybe. The other thing they could do is just make the standard banner way cheaper.
That too.
Specifically the standard banner. I don't care if the featured banners get up a little, just go down a little bit in price, or stay the same.
I personally, I think the featured banners are right at where they need to be cost-wise.
I would say lower it 150 per instead of 160.
Maybe.
Just a tiny bit cheaper, but not too much as to seriously impact MiHoYo's profit margins.
Well, let's do the math for that real quick. I just got my phone out real quick. Go to calculator. 160, and it's 10 for a 10 pull. That's 1,600. You're only saving 100 primos. I don't really count that as worth it. I would say... I would say having it at 140 would be ideal. Having it even less would be even better.
Oh, obviously, but I am not trying to be a super advocate for the consumers. You need to make money somehow.
I think.
Although I do kind of want, I do wonder if you would consider an experiment of just putting shit out or stuff out for sale. Like, here's Venti, he's $100. Have fun. Buy 6 of him or 7.
I think that's a little expensive, personally. $100 for a character is a little too expensive, in my opinion.
But it is still 3 times the potential cost of
Indeed. Personally, I think if they were going to sell a character like that, $60 is probably acceptable.
Too cheap.
No.
Far too cheap. Never going to happen. I would say 100 is reasonable.
That's a single character at the same price of a full-priced game. I could get Resident Evil 8 for that much money.
Get Resident Evil 8.
That's the problem. Why would I spend money on just a single character in a free-to-play game when I could spend that same amount of money and get a full retail value game? That's why I say less is better. $100 for a character is way too expensive.
That's a matter
At the
of
very most, it needs to be $60. Ideally, it would be $30.
Yeah, that's too cheap.
$100 to guarantee C6.
No, that is definitely not ever going to happen. Sometimes I even wonder if they would even do a subscription-based model for this game. Personally, I might do it, but
I would as
it would
well.
require some vast restructuring of the game.
Indeed. Let's go collect some people. There does need to be some way to get... There needs to be additional ways for you to be able to get your... to get constellations, though. Like, that is something you and I have been in agreement for a good long while. Because especially as they add more and more characters to the game, it is already starting to get a little ridiculous getting constellations. Like, I would really like to get constellations for Klee, but I am at the mercy of when MiHoYo decides to give us her rerun banner.
Someday in the future for sure.
Oh, one thing that Tectone, I forgot to mention, one thing he talked about in his video today, was something that you and I actually touched on, and it's a way to guarantee what stats you get leveled up in your artifacts.
Indeed.
He specifically mentioned a reroll mechanic, like
I've seen that in other fun games, and to be honest, I've also seen it in Eureka, or not, freaking no, it was Eureka.
No,
Never mind.
yeah, it's in Eureka.
Using up for Diadem, but in any case, it would just be here's failing at RNG, so you can fail at RNG more, just for more chances to roll at RNG. Not going to fix the problem; it's going to be irritating.
It would actually fix. It would be a step in the right direction at the very least, because it would still reduce the amount of RNG that you have to fail at. Because currently, you have to contend with getting an artifact with good stats, which I'm trying to get artifacts for Eula, and the game is just not having it for me, apparently.
Neither am I.
I have one mask that is possibly good.
I have a feather, I think. By the way, I am logged in if you want to steal my stuff. Merchant.
This feather that I've got on Razor isn't bad either. But in any case, this set that I've given him, these two weapons that these two artifacts that I've given him, they are okay, but the mask in particular has percent attack as its main stat, and then crit rate, flat HP, and flat defense. And I am not willing to level it up because there is a chance that it does not go into crit rate, or that the fourth stat is even desirable.
I have time to keep farming for new stuff.
If you could re-roll the stats, even if it reset the level of your artifact to 1, if it at least gave you the ability to try again, that would still reduce the amount of RNG, because in order to re-roll, you have to get an entire new artifact. And you have to pray that you get one with the right artifacts, and then pray that the artifacts get leveled up into what you want. Like I said, I lucked out with Catching. Catching's got really good artifacts on her. Well, frankly, her goblet could be better. But at least it went a couple of times into crit rate, and then like one time into HP. Her mask, also pretty good. Her hourglass, very good. Her feather, also really good. And her flower, also very good. I lucked out with that, though. I didn't have to grind for very long. I grinded for, I think, like, a week at most.
Playing too much FF, accidentally hitting buttons trying to move in Genshin. I was constantly scared, though, when I was leveling those up, that I would not get good rolls. And that's why you only level it up, like, 8 to level 8, to see if it's worth doing, if it's worth trying again. And then if it doesn't, and if you don't get the stat rolls that you want, you can just feed it into another artifact that does have the stats that you want. But again, that kind of sucks because you have to pray that you get an artifact with it, and once again, you have to pray that it goes into the stats that you want. There needs to either be a way to guarantee that you get the stats that you want leveled up. There needs to be they need to make it so that just every single one of the stats go up to max, or they need to give you a way to reroll. Personally, I would be in favor of a decreased amount of grinding for guarantees.
True. At the very least, though, they can give us rerolls.
I suppose at the very least, they could give us rerolls.
Because I think that's the crux of the problem with people's complaints about Spiral Abyss. It isn't even about the absurd difficulty, although I do think that's certainly part of it. I think the biggest... it's a big part of it. It is a big part of it, but the biggest problem is the... is artifact grinding.
Artifact grinding to get your characters even good enough to get there, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually what I'm doing right now. I haven't even gotten the stuff to level up Eula yet. When she does launch, when I do get her.
Same. I'll do that another time, though.
And I'm trying to get good artifacts for her and level them up before she launches, and then once I have a good set, that's when I'm gonna get the her Ascension materials, because you know that's easy to get. You just grind for a couple of days to get all of the materials that you need for that.
A little bit more than a couple of days, depending on what level you intend to reach. But yes, it is a actual guarantee that you're getting these things. So it's
And same thing with her talents. The same thing with talent materials. That's a guarantee. It's only artifact grinding that's a problem. And you know, I'm gonna get her weapon. I'm gonna get her weapon.
I'm going to try to get her weapon. I'm going to pull her and then see if I can get the weapon. And then
Same.
I do not quite know what I'm going to spend my primogems, assuming I am that lucky this time around.
If I can, I'm probably gonna have to spend a little bit of money on her because I'm not sure if I can get to Battle Pass 50 by the time she launches. Because I am at 23 right now, and I'm almost at the weekly cap.
Again, you could probably meet that if you decide to go into my house like you wanted.
Are you online?
Yes, I am. So
not what I meant to press. I'm sorry. How do I join your house again?
To go to my freaking profile. Okay, click on my picture instead of the request button.
Right, okay. And you can visit my house too.
I could. If it's the house I think it is, Steven was there.
Obviously. You're not at Trust Rank 5 yet, right?
No.
How close are you?
I think I'm like 700 to 600 off.
Oh, you have a different dog than me.
Oh, well, I still have the same boar.
We have the boar, but you have a different dog than I do.
A better dog than you.
Do you want the dog?
Not particularly.
Okay, I'll buy that.
I need to save my freaking money for furnishing or blueprints. I'll probably go buy some rocks from yours later.
Let's see if I've gotten more shenanigans.
Four stars are going to appear on Eula's banner.
I have a feeling that Bennett's probably going to be on it.
That would be unfortunate. I already have Bennett. Well, no, I don't. I think I need one in order to get his ult, and then, of course, one to make him not as good for my Eula team.
Indeed. I'm still sitting on his last constellation. I haven't put it in. Mainly because I don't want to, because he works so damn well with physical teams.
He works well with any team.
He works well with any team, but I feel like right now he is definitely strongest with a physical team. Although I am considering putting that final piece in and putting him on my Klee team instead of Chi-Chi.
In my opinion, he would work well on any team so long as they actually aren't a physical damage user. Because then you're going to lose that freaking percent physical damage bonus on any artifacts that have those.
Yeah. Not to mention weapons. Like, if I were to do that, I would not be able to put him on my catching team.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if whether or not his ult overrides catching's E or not.
It's not catching's ult that
I know it's her
it's
E.
her E.
Like I said, I don't know whether or not his ult overrides her E.
Okay, I misunderstood you. But that is a good question. Let me see. Either way, I don't do that. And if I were to put that point in there, and then you switch to catching, she would straight up not be that good. Oh, you also need Ring of Boreas. Why is it every character needs a Ring of Boreas? Let me see. Gains an electro infusion for 5 seconds.
Should be able to tell you that your weapon will be glowing.
I think the only time I've ever actually used Ketching's infusion has been when I, for the, Abyss Mages, or the Abyss Heralds. Because I was trying desperately to break their shields. And any amount of electro just... Because, you know, breaking shields, for some reason, is not damage-based. It is, element-based.
Not even a fixed amount of elemental damage. It's just elemental reaction. Just triggering it does a fixed amount of damage.
Indeed.
Well, you can go to, I don't know, some noob's world and with Ganyu and shoot a fire mage and his shield explodes and then he explodes. You know, I'd go there and I'd do like a little bit of damage to the shield.
Yeah, once the shield is gone, you one-shot it, but... It's, a little bit weird that you can't one-shot the shield, too. In a way, I understand why they did that, but...
See,
Noob's World, the things are still gonna get one-shot, regardless. Because, you know, they're not level syncing. They're not level syncing you. If I were, like, Adventure Rank 25, or if you and I were to go to, like, Isaac's World or something... We're not level synced. So, even though the Abyss Mage's shields won't break immediately, once it is broken, those things are dead. They're gonna get one-shot.
Don't blink. Hey.
And I think it's just a mechanic that MiHoYo probably didn't think through.
I think they put some thought into it. Just like, hey, you know what? We're not trying to make using the proper elemental damage important. So here's stuff that's hard to break through unless you're using the proper stuff.
Indeed.
Problem is kind of. See, I don't even know if it's a problem, but they could just make it, or I would make it if I could. I would make it so that the damage to shields actually scales off the elemental mastery, because then it would be useful again.
Indeed. It also makes Sucrose a hell of a lot better, too.
Well, I mean, it made it a little bit better. Because if it's too good, then it's, well, I don't know. Because right now, it would only be like, you want elemental mastery on a character so that they can go through shield really fast. Even faster for some if it's the right shield type.
With sword comes shadow.
And using one of my auto attack points and the fire blade shield just disappears entirely because of the amount of elemental mastery I have.
Indeed.
Got lucky that.
In any case, I would do that change. Done crafting shenanigans to deal with some Genshin stuff.
Obviously. Let's see, what else did he talk about? We already mentioned the thing. Let's talk about the temporary resin that they added with the Serenity Pot. As we touched upon it while we were getting things ready. Personally, I think the price for the resin is a little too high.
What was the math you did? It was like 36 hours or something. If you at the maximum.
If you're at the max,
income.
if you are at the max rate of currency accumulation, you can get 1 per day. But you have to choose between that or getting the stuff to level up artifacts.
Which is exceedingly stupid. Because getting the artifacts will give you more to level up with than the actual thing.
Indeed.
Unless you can get the cheaper one that doesn't do as much.
The way. Let me go back into my house, because the way that I had calculated it is that you can get both. You can get one of the big ones and then like 5 of the little ones for an equivalent of them. Let's see. It's 360 sanctifying essence, and then
It's 4.
and then 90.
Well, actually, I don't know. I suppose if you look at it in terms of costs, the sanctifying essence is far more efficient than the realm currency. Just not you can do more with the resin. In any case, it just costs way more realm currency.
360 divided by 20, which is what I'm at right now. It would take me 18 hours to get one sanctifying essence. And to get the resin, divide that by 20, would take me 60 hours.
Over 3 days. That's if you just so happen to be at trust rank 6.
By that point, you should be a bit higher, though.
I mean, probably, because I think... What is the final, like 30,000?
Huh?
Just check what the final recharge rate is. I think it's 30,000.
It's 30 per hour. You need 20,000 adeptal energy.
So it's far less. So I'm not even remotely close to being done with the inside of my first realm, and you can get 3, so you can easily get to that. They should actually... Well, maybe not, but still, like, you can get to 20,000 pretty easily by rank 6.
And at that point, that, it costs 1,200. Divide that by 30. It would take you 40 hours to get one of those. That's almost 2 full days. Just to get one of those resin.
I mean, how much can you buy a day? 1?
I don't even know. You can.
I suppose none of us know.
I'm wondering if it's a weekly thing at this rate.
Like 60 resin a week. Yeah, buddy. We heard your complaints about not having enough resin, Church, so we gave you an extra 60 a week.
Jesus Christ. You can only get one every 2 days. And you have to save up for that. Conversely, you could just get the artifact stuff. Because for those, it's 360 for... Oops. 360 for the big one. Divide that by 30. Takes you 12 hours to get it. You could get 2 of those per day.
It depends on how those rotate and how many you can get per day, per week, whenever. Maybe
those will probably be they'll probably all be daily limits. And the way I see it, you could probably get 1 of the big ones, and then like 5 of the small ones for an equivalent of 2 big ones per day.
Maybe. We'll just have to see.
But in any case, there's steps in the right direction for the resin. It's way too fucking... It is way too fucking expensive, though. That needs to be fixed pronto. I can tell you right now, I'm probably never going to buy that.
It depends.
Why would I buy that when I could just do a manual recharge for free, and then use that on Mora, and then just buy the artifact leveling things. Because that's where the majority of my Mora goes to.
Right. Again, it does kind of depend on whether or not you're allowed to choose between one or the other. And whether or not you are allowed to get more than one of the sanctifying essences or not. Because if you can only get one of the sanctifying essences, then again, the resin is going to be better in terms of leveling up artifacts.
Indeed. Indeed, but it does depend. If you can get 2 per day, then...
It would already be better by a good bit.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Mihoyo, you need to increase the recharge rate for that. You either need to increase the accumulation rate for currency here, or you need to severely reduce the cost of the resin. You need to let us buy at least 1 per day.
Well, we could just, get a naturally higher resin recharge rate and play the game as we see fit, mostly.
Mm-hmm. It's a step in the right direction, and this is also something... Oh, hello. You've entered my teapot.
To steal some rocks.
Yes, indeed. I actually lagged a little bit when you joined.
Can happens in normal player too.
I know. It's just a little funny. But in any case, oh, is that another door? Oh, this house is on its side. Fuck. Am I able to... Yeah, you can't... I can't edit anything until you leave. But in any case, one of the things that Tectone also mentioned as something, and I actually agree with him on this, like, on a spiritual level. The rewards for doing your daily commissions don't feel rewarding. You get 60 resin, or I'm sorry, you get 60 primogems per day. That is 1 recharge every single day with a net positive of 10 extra primos.
Also, what, 1 summon? 1 wish?
If you have the Welkin blessing.
Oh yeah, it's 180. That's 1 a day. Or every 3 days.
It's like every 3 days. 6, 12, 18.
And then a little bit extra.
Every 3 days you'll be able to do a single summon. If you don't have the Welkin blessing. If you do, it's like 1 every day and a half. I think would be where it's at. It's like 1 every 2 days. You get enough.
No, you have to go 3 days. You just have a little bit extra on the 3rd. 20 extra.
90 plus 60 is 150.
Not counting the Welkin blessing.
Oh, well, I was. That was
that
was my point.
In that case, it's a little under 2 days.
Because it's 150 per day that you're getting through the Welkin blessing. Which I've been lucky. I've had enough so that doing my daily commissions as well as the Welkin blessing has been giving me 1 summon every single day. But that's because I haven't been spending that. If I did spend it on any recharges, I would not have enough. And one of the best things that MiHoYo decided to do was give us resin every 10 levels, starting at level 5 for the battle pass.
There's another step in the right direction, but still not enough. Especially since they're
Agreed.
determined on a
1, 2...
every 42-day period.
Yeah. 4, 5. That gives you 5 fragile resin every 45 days if you're completely free to play. 10 if you buy the battle pass. Every month and a half.
So that's 600 resin every month and a half.
Little bit not worth it just for the resin, but again, the battle pass also gives you a shit ton of mora, gives you hero's wit, gives you
Also,
weapons,
something else,
gives you talent
something
materials.
else that probably free-to-play players have a ton to complain about is that I run low on stuff, and I paid for every battle pass, and made it to level 50 on every battle pass. And I still find myself short on materials every now and again.
Same. I don't expect to never be short on some materials through just the battle pass because it is sort of an augmentative thing. You shouldn't be able to do it, but I do feel like the rewards for it are just a little bit unfair. Oh, the trees are invincible, and here, that makes sense. How many primos do I have now? I can't check. 43. Or resin, sorry.
I was gonna say, even if you were talking about, well, I suppose if you're talking about resin, you can just need to go to thing and then switch thing. Which, small note, the screen they have for the map now, because you can switch between that and the Serenity Pot, kind of a big spoiler. They're going to maybe split up Inazuma and Fallen Region, maybe. But definitely Celestia. I imagine, like, we'll have that, the Serenity Pot, and then Celestia on that screen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Since to that, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure they said it's the entire world, not the continent of Liyue and Mondstadt.
Yeah, it's the world of Teyvat, not the continent. We'll definitely be going to Inazuma. I think it's 1.6, if the rumors are to be believed.
Wind go with you.
We will just have to see. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1.7.
Neither would I. I am glad that they decided to put this new domain where they did, though. Because trying to get the Fatui guys at this particular area took a little bit of time just getting there. Because, you know, you had to climb that giant-ass mountain. Oh, there you go.
I'm taking the stage.
I really feel strongly that MiHoYo, the thing that they need to do the most right now is definitely increase the rate just enough so that we can at least reach level cap every 24 hours. Or resin cap, rather.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, the guy, he might have complained about not having a cap, but I'm someone who does not like to reach cap. I will go out of my way to make sure I am not at it. And I get the feeling he's the same way. He's like, why is there a cap at all? So we're not ever going to need it. It's like for casual players. We're not going to be on every single minute of the day. Or making sure they're not at cap. That being said, though, they should increase the resin recharge rate and then increase the resin cap. So that people who cannot play Genshin on their computer at any given time and don't want to play it on their phone can stay relatively caught up.
Indeed.
Just requires more grinding on a particular day.
One of the things that they definitely need to do is bridge the gap between whales and free-to-play players. And even light spenders, like you and me. I do feel like,
You could cater to light spenders particularly, they need to do. Because as I told someone else once upon a time, is like, are you gonna have an easier time finding someone willing to spend $1,000, or find 100 people willing to spend $10? Or yeah, that math is right. Even though $10 would not be light spending, but still,
Don't do this, game. Don't give me hope. I've got a flower. It's got flat defense, crit rate, and percent attack.
I recently got a percent physical damage cup recently, and it was let me find it because I haven't sacrificed it yet. Where are you?
Don't do this to me, game. Oh, one of the things that I've heard someone else say, I think it was Gotcha Gamer. One of the things that MiHoYo needs to do is what they need to do is give us an additional way to get the Gladiator set. Gladiators, Wanderer's Troop, you know, all of the sets that don't have their own domains, they need to have a domain of their own because, you know, Gladiator's Nostalgia is really good all around for most builds. In fact, there's a charge attack build that I found with Klee that specifically uses 2 pieces of that and 2 pieces of Witch's Flower.
I suppose. Yeah.
They either need to give that their own domain, or they need to increase the rate that you can get them in the overworld. At least the 5-star versions. Alright, let's see what my first stat is.
Now, I am a guy.
Flat attack. That's not terrible.
Maybe
Bad, but it's not awful.
I like to vet my 5 stars before I sacrifice them, and I like to get to almost 1,000 artifacts before I start getting rid of stuff. So I'm actually not even... I have a lot of options when it comes to Gladiator stuff and Wanderer's Troop.
I am not the same way, because when I have artifacts that I need... So I can probably 12 this. It went once into flat attack and then the other into percent attack. I can probably do this.
Yeah, that cup I found was crit rate, flat attack, or percent attack, and then it was flat defense and then flat HP.
You see, it's scary to try to get that up because there's so many ways that the game could just totally fuck you over.
I'm not even going to touch any artifacts that might be good for you at the moment. Not even until I get all artifacts. I'm like, you know what? These are all really good. I like all of them. I don't need to farm specifically for her anymore. But until then, until that happens, or until Eula comes out, and I'm ready to start putting stuff on her, I'm like, okay, I can't sit here and farm all day anymore.
Indeed. They definitely, and I do think the best way for them to fix this would be, one, give us a way to guarantee which piece we get, even if the stats on that particular thing is randomized, like it is. As long as we could guarantee that we get the piece we need, because I would really like a Pyro Cup from the Witch's Blaze domain.
I just have an idea, and I think it's pretty good, but what if they made it? So there's a little drop-down menu, like in the party selection screen, that kind of has the name of an artifact set of that domain there, but you can, like, pull it down and it'll show you the 2 options, and you can only get artifacts from that artifact set. So it's not like those times where it's like, hey, look, a Lava Walker's Cup that is pretty godlike. It's a shame it's on a Lava Walker Cup.
For the day. Shall we take a stroll?
I can agree to that.
It would be a step in the right direction.
I agree with that. I feel like they should do more, but that would be sort of the bare minimum.
I want to choose stats. I don't care if I have to spend a week grinding out one 5-star artifact.
Same! Same.
So long as I know it's going to take me a week to grind it out, I'll be fine. Not. I imagine it'll be like another month before I get artifacts for you that are good. Because it's going to take me more than a month to finish my current team friendship to 10. So even when Yula comes out, I'm not going to start using her immediately.
I will because she just looks really fun. And she's got a really good design.
I'm sure she is fun and she does look good, but that's not how I play this game.
That's how I play the game.
So, Josh,
Personally.
your way of playing the game is incorrect.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? How many characters do you have at friendship rank 6 and not any higher?
At friendship 6 and not any higher. Yeah, that's my current team. Razor's at 2, Lisa's at 1, Amber. No, not Amber. Rosaria, Diona, Bennett, and Fischl. Jean Ling.
Do you not have anyone at rank 5, at friendship level 5 right now?
No.
6?
Well, 6 specifically, yes, my current team.
But no one else? Everyone else is either higher or lower?
Everyone else is either 10 or below 2. In fact, Razor is 2.5, so he is my highest friendship character. Or actually, where's Clee? Clee is not. Okay, so Razor and Clee are my 2 highest friendship, aside from my current team, who are at 6, and everyone else is at 10. So Clee, Razor, Lisa, Rosaria, Diona, Bennett, and Jean Ling. I think that's 8 characters. That's 2 teams that are not at friendship 10 yet, including my current team.
Oh, one other thing that I would really like MiHoYo to do, give us a fishing minigame.
Yeah, they'll do that at some point. Don't even have to
Or
ask.
at the very least, give us a way to get fish aside from just out in the wild. Like, give us a way to get them from like expeditions or something.
Expedition. Then they need to expand expeditions anyway. Again, you don't even have to ask for this. Like, they're going to do it eventually, and unless they're really going to neglect expeditions. That
I
we
mean,
unlock
they
can be good.
I mean, they kind of have.
Yeah, kind of. So far, it's only the really annoying materials to get, like crab, that aren't on expeditions yet.
Crabs, I think would
Or
be...
Star Silver. Star Silver needs to be at least there, because that's a common
Yes.
material.
It's a common material, and it is kind of hard to get.
It's not hard, just annoying. I don't like wandering all around Dragonspine.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that I have Ning Wong, because she can see that on the minimap.
Meanwhile, I bet we're going to have more mining spots that are not Star Silver in Inazuma. Actually, no, I wonder if 1.6 is going to be the chasm, and then we'll go to Inazuma.
Maybe. It would seem kind of odd that they would add Inazuma before the chasm. Because, you know, you look to the west of Lihue. How's it pronounced? Liwa? You look to the... You go all the way and you look to the west of Lihue, and there's just a shit ton of map here. Like, if I were to go all the way up to the upper left corner of the map and zoom all the way out and go back to where, and then go back to where I can see Lihue again. 1,
If you mean
2,
on the map, you can
3,
scroll over all over the
4.
place.
It takes 4 full seconds to get your cursor back into Lihue.
I mean, if you're looking at the map and all of that, I did see like some probably fan-made work in progress of all of the nations on the entire blank empty space of the map.
I have not seen that.
It's
But
not briefly
it would make sense. At the very least, the chasm needs to be added because, you know, that whole area, like Dragonspine before it, is labeled. Before they
Yes, it
added
did.
the Dragon Spine update, that was like the chasm is now. It was just a blank
They will
area you
be
couldn't
added
go
at some
to.
point. Stop worrying about things that are going to be added eventually. Worry about things that they need to add that might not be, like freaking constellation items.
Oh, we didn't. Let's address that. Constellations are incredibly difficult to get.
Difficult.
Like I said earlier, I would love to get those first 2 constellations for Klee at least. I am at the mercy of MiHoYo. They need to add a way to get those constellations without a character, dude. And I don't care if they make it like the new item that they just added. That lets you change the weekly boss drop that you can get once.
Well, it should be noted that it only converts between bosses, not cross bosses.
I know. You can
Just
only
making sure.
you can
Let it
only
not know.
change like a tail of Boreas to a ring of Boreas. You can't
Because that's
change like one of the child items to a Boreas item.
To me, it should be the other way around. I was like, well, I have like 22 wolf tails, and I'm like, I don't need that. I do need child items. I was like, oh, okay, fine.
You know, I'm fine with that.
That's
I
okay.
am fine with that. Is it
Gonna make-
ideal? No.
Gonna
But
make living with Beula's talents hard though, because I feel pretty certain that she's gonna use Azdaha's weekly item drop when they add that game.
yeah. I mean, why else would they add him as early as they did if she wasn't going to use them?
Unless they make the Abyss Herald a weekly fight like they said they were going to do, I think.
If I remember right, when I looked her up on Honey Select, I saw that she was using Azdaha's things for that. There will be a different character that'll probably use the Abyss Herald.
Quite a downpour. Nothing will get
Indeed.
done until it
But in the
clears.
case,
And
you
I
were
can-
saying...
Let this be a
I can
lesson
see
to those who
them
yesterday said I'll do it
Maybe
tomorrow.
doing Abyss Herald and Abyss Lectern in like one fight.
That would be irritating. That would be really irritating, actually.
Well, they would definitely have to balance around that.
I mean, if it's going to be two separate... If it's going to be like Child, where it's like, here's Phase 1, Abyss Herald, Phase 2, Lectern, it's going to be
Let me tell
easy
you.
at that point.
Let me tell you though, the fight with Azdaha, the weekly fight now, not the story one, is stupidly difficult if you don't have Zhongli.
Did they add the fight to the game?
Yes, they did. You can't see it on. You can
So
see it on
they
the map now.
added the weekly fight, you just can't do it yet.
No, you can't. I did it. It costs 60. I'm looking at it right now. It's just below Mount Hula.
That's the Primo Geo Vishap, Josh. That's not
No,
Azdaha.
I'm looking at Azdaha beneath the Dragon Queller.
Let me see if they stealth added this shenanigans in.
The Primo Geo Vishap is closer to Tianqiu Valley.
So it is there. I've just not seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been out for more than a week?
Do you need to do it?
I do need to do it.
Because I've already done it, but I can join you for it.
I want to see how hard it is by myself.
Okay.
On my current team.
Let me just tell you, you definitely want a shield character.
I have no doubt. But
Because
answer my earlier question, has it been out for more than a week?
I think this is the first week it's been out.
Good. Because otherwise I would have been irritated.
I do think that they did stealth at it, though.
Because I remember when I did the Azdaha fight and I was looking around, I was like, don't see it. I don't see it anywhere.
Right?
Oh my god, what? No,
They probably
you did
waited
again.
they probably waited a couple of days after the patch dropped so that people didn't just go right back and do the fight. in that, and then go right back in to get their weekly drop.
So wait, see, no, just a little bit irritating because they had a freaking event thing for the ice cube, but not for Asda. Why? One of these a little bit more important than the other.
Just a little bit. Oh, there are crabs spawn over here. I didn't know that. God! You stupid flower, would you leave me alone? I'm trying to collect fish. How much fish do I have now? Let's see. Fishy fish. I have 45 fish. Let's see. There's something else I wanted to talk about that I can't quite remember what it was supposed to be. I'll probably remember it later. That's just how it goes.
Indeed.
Let's see. We need to fix resin. That is something that we have been asking for since day one.
Far more than just us.
It's probably the entirety of the community that is complaining about it, and I can understand why. And what's really irritating is that just like with just like with two-factor authentication before, MiHoYo's probably not going to address this until there's a huge community backlash about it.
Did they add two-factor authentication?
They're adding it later. They touched on it in the live letter. I think they either did that or it was in one of the addendum pages. Because what they like to do, I've noticed, is they'll do the video live letters, and then they'll turn around and anything they didn't talk about in that, they'll follow up in like a news article on their forums. Which is only in Chinese. They only do it in the for the Chinese forum. They don't do it for the English speaking ones.
How unfortunate.
So there are translators that have been translating those, and I think in one of those they address two-factor authentication and said they're working on it, but they have not addressed the resin recharge rate, which is, you know, really irritating of them. Fish. It's a fishy fish. What kind of fish that smells fishy? But in any case, I think that should probably do it for us tonight. Let's go ahead and recap what we talked about. One of the most important things MiHoYo could possibly do is give us some kind of manual targeting system for combat. Because, you know, it is really irritating for me to drop down a Jumpty Dumpty and then for it to target the fucking Sisson to the left instead of the mage that is directly in front of me. Because the Sisson spawned just as I was getting ready to press the button to put down Jumpty Dumpty.
I'm saying just beyond that, it's probably just better for Venti.
It's something that would definitely impact Venti the most. Because his ult gets impacted the most from a faulty aiming system. Because, you know, you'll put down his ult and then it'll go completely in the wrong direction. Because, you know, that Sisson that just spawned happened to be closer to you than the Sisson mage that's directly in front of you.
Indeed.
I've also discovered that if you use an attack that is strong enough, you can actually get the Geo Bishops stuck in Venti's ult.
I think that's the same with any big thing. You just actually have to knock them up, and then they stay kind of stuck in their falling animation.
Indeed. To my knowledge, for my characters at least, I think Klee is the only one that's able to knock them up.
You can do it with Overload. You just need Explosive Force.
You can do it with who?
Anyone that can do it Overload. It just needs to be an explosion.
True. All this fish that I'm collecting. Let's see, we talked about manual targeting, how big of an improvement that would be. Artifact grinding, you need to add a way for us to guarantee what stats are leveled up and what pieces we get. Even if, to that end, guaranteeing what piece you get, like if you could choose to get a cup or a timepiece. Even if the stats on those are completely random, that is still removing an element of RNG, because all you have to do is keep doing the domain again until you get one with good stats.
Just gonna correct you again. It's not removing an element of RNG, it's adding another one. Having to roll against RNG more is not removing RNG, it's just making it...
It's streamlining the process a little bit.
It is not streamlining the process.
What are you
it's actually
talking about?
lengthening it.
As it is right now, you're completely at the mercy of getting the one that you want, getting the piece that you need, and it having the stats that you want. Even if the stats on the piece is random, you are still not having to pray that you get the right piece. You are still guaranteed to get that timepiece or a cup, even if the stats on them are random.
See, I'm not talking about guarantee. I'm talking about the re-rolling. That's what you said.
Re-rolling, personally, I would not want like straight re-rolling. I would definitely want to keep the stats that I have on it. Just reset it back to level 1 and let us try again for rolling. But in any case, they need to do something for artifacts. At the bare minimum, they need to guarantee you get the piece of artifact that you're wanting from the correct set.
We will see.
We also touched on the housing system. They definitely need to find a way to bridge the gap between free-to-play players and whales. Because, as it is, I think that the disparity between them is a little too steep. There should be a disparity. I don't want whales thinking that the money they've spent on the game is going to waste. But at the same time, I I don't want free-to-play players feeling like they're never going to be able to get to that level. Because the whales are just that far ahead.
They removed it on the sense of grinding, aka resin. I would be fine.
Ideally, they would just remove the resin system entirely. But I don't see them doing that.
Maybe at some point, if it depends on how much there is to do, they'll just have to figure out another way to put grinding into the game. Talk about the sun exceptions another time.
Indeed. I forget what else we talked
Speed
about.
of light.
We talked about the, we talked about some, improvements. The timed resin from the shop, you need to be able to buy at least one per day. And I think it should be the most expensive thing on there. I don't think you should have to save up your currency for 2 days to get one of those. Because at that point, what's the point of getting it? Every 2 days you get one. That's 60 resin. Congratulations. You get one recharge every 2 days. Does not seem very worth, in my opinion. One thing that Tectone mentioned, one thing they could do for that is they could make it so that you get a certain amount of resin for doing your daily commissions. You get like 30 or 40 resin, or you get like 20 resin, enough for one domain run. I feel like that's the least they could do. Ideally, they would let us make one condensed resin every day. For doing our daily commissions, or at least give us more than just 5,000 freaking Mora.
The sun is out.
Personally, I
Our
actually
work's done
want
for the
more
day. Shall we take a stroll?
jewels for Ascension.
I would like more Mora personally, because Ascension, the Ascension jewels, I'm okay with. I can just grind the bosses for that. But Mora is a bit of a different story, especially now that I've found basically every common chest out there. I don't really have any other sources of Mora except for the odd event and the ley lines. I know we didn't talk about it today. For fuck's sake, either remove combat experience from the game or buff it. Because as it is, it may as well not even be in the game. Because I have Sucrose able to be brought to level 90. Getting her to friendship level 10, she is a 10th of the way there. To level 90, to level 81. Just to 81.
Don't blink.
That is an incredibly small amount of experience that the game is giving us. For combat, they need to remove it or buff it, so that we
remove it and just recalculate the actual experience, so that you don't have to go over by like 75 or 175 on some stuff.
Maybe. One thing they could do is do what they do with. They could do with. Here's what they do with the weapon, the weapon leveling stuff. if you go over with a higher, you get a certain amount of the lower rank stuff back. You'll always be net losing some. I mean, you're not going to be able to get like 100 of the tier 2 and 200 of the tier 1. You'll always be losing out on some for not doing it right. But at least you'd be getting some back. That's one thing that I think they could possibly add. And I think that's about all that we could talk about today.
Very well then.
So, we will be back at some other point. I am still having to recalculate what days we do this on, because between my new job, which my actual schedule is going to be starting fairly soon, as well as between that and school and Savage, it's been a little bit more difficult to do these, but I want to do them 3 times a week still. So, updated schedule will come in the near future. But for now, thanks for dropping by, and we will see you on the next one.
Indeed.